And we're off and running, home and home, back at the Krueger Show house here on a Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, April the 25th. To everybody, welcome to the Pig and a Pickle Krueger Show. I'm Larry Krueger. He's Damon Bruce. We are brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. Check them out, 2 locations, one in Emeryville, one in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in Marin. Get your barbecue from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Pig and a Pickle, proud sponsor of the Krueger Show. Well, a lot to talk about, never any shortage of topics. Warriors Kings after Sunday, now going back to Golden 1 for Game 5. It's a best of 3 with the Kings holding home court advantage because Harrison Barnes rimmed out, and we're going to get to that in a matter of minutes. Giants in an amazing hot streak for them with the Cardinals in town. We'll get to that, I'm sure, as well. But we start with Monday in Santa Clara. John Lynch spoke to the media for the final time before Thursday's NFL draft. 49ers have 11 picks in all, starting with pick number 99. Will they make a trade? Will they trade Trey Lance? Will they trade Javon Kinlaw? Will they trade Brandon Ayuk? Will they trade back, trade up, will they stay where they're at? A lot of questions leading into the NFL draft Thursday night, and with us to break it all down, the great Damon Bruce. What's going on, Damon? How are you, man?
Mi casa, su casa, su casa, mi casa. It's been a while since we've done a home and home, Larry. We both got busy last week. I know you had some baseball coaching. I had some drugs to do over in Berkeley. So, it was a really busy week for the both of us. So we're glad to put this together. I know that the week's about to be busy once again for us. I'm covering the NBA playoffs for AMP. I know you got the NFL draft coming up. And what a story, we've kind of seen a reversal on. There was no doubt that the Trey Lance is about to get traded rumor that you didn't start, that you inferred from many data points. And it was correct to infer that. It feels like that's changed in the last 24 hours. It really has. And I believe John Lynch when he says they were not aggressively shopping him. What I don't believe is when he says our plans for Trey remain the same the day we drafted him. They can't. You drafted him to be your starting quarterback, and he might not even be your third stringer, to be totally honest with you. Having said all that, what I really believe has happened here is he was on the trading block, and they simply did not like an offer that they received or heard from. And I guess I don't blame them for exercising a little caution and patience here, Larry. He's such a hard player to evaluate. What is a man's value when you don't even know what his value is to your own team? How can you start assessing what his value could be to other franchises? So sticking and staying on Trey Lance, it's a little bit of a reversal of fortune, I think, but it's probably the right move.
Well, I would say to everybody, by the way, NBC's Peter King says that the chances of the 49ers trading Trey Lance before the draft are incredibly low. He's putting it at 8.6% to be exact.
Ooh, okay.
Saying his market is quiet right now.
Not 8.7.
No, 8.6.
Okay.
He's got it down
8.7. We got a story.
The only thing is, though, I wouldn't put. I know. It's funny. I was down there. I'm sitting there and I'm watching it, and I'm looking at the whole thing, and I know that everybody, gravitated to the line where he's like, I expect Trey Lance to be here, but all I would say is, let's just wait and see. Let's wait and see. I didn't get that same thing out of that press conference that other people did, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that there's been a lot of talk for Trey Lance because I think at the end of the day, Damon, I don't think Trey Lance is option A for maybe anybody. He might be option B or C or D for a number of teams. And I think you're really going to have to just wait and see exactly how the draft plays out, because the one thing we don't know, we know that the Niners – when he was asked the question, when John Lynch was asked a question about Lamar Jackson coming to the Niners, he shot it down. Said this is not how we constructed our football team. In other words, they constructed their football team with the idea that they would have a quarterback and a rookie salary.
Right, we like our guys. I heard the quote.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I don't think that's really about anything other than, hey, we can't afford Aaron Rodgers. We can't afford Kirk Cousins. We can't afford a veteran quarterback. We can't afford Lamar. So they want to go with the rookie quarterback. But they have the rookie quarterback in Brock Purdy. The other interesting thing over the last 24 hours was Jordan Palmer coming out saying that, Sam Darnold is going to be the starter. We've heard that a couple times. I don't think the 49ers are intent on trading Trey Lance, but I also don't think that it's a done deal that they won't. And when I say that, I just really believe that the 49ers have a price tag, and we don't know what it is, but they want to go with Brock Purdy. They also have Trey on, Trey's salary is somewhat significant as time goes on. I think you're talking about close to $8 or $9 million this year. And I think they're trying to put everything into winning now. The interesting thing about the whole discussion was we've been very transparent with Trey. He knows what's going on. I just really think that when you look at where this draft is and where Trey Lance would rank among the quarterbacks, I think if the quarterbacks come off the board in short order, I think there's a very good chance that the 49ers phone is going to ring in round 2, maybe even round 3, with somebody offering their pick for Trey Lance. Now, the question is, what are the Niners asking for? The Niners paid a ton to get him. If they're trying to recoup all that,
then they're chasing a ghost. It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. It's not going to happen. But the thing is, we don't know what they're asking for. And if I'm Lynch,
what's a fair ask? I mean,
if I'm Lynch, I'm playing it. I think a fair offer is a 3rd-round draft choice.
I think that's
or
what
second.
I was about to say. It can't be a 1. It's not going to be a 1.
No, it's not a 1.
A mid-second to a 3rd, anywhere through the 3rd, I think is fair.
Yeah.
Or if you wanted to come with like a 4th this year and a 4th the following year, less of a premium pick, but you get 2 of them over the course of 2 drafts. Maybe that would hold some interest. But again, to me, one of the factors that has not been discussed here, Larry, is that, Brock Purdy's coming off this elbow surgery, and their faith in him being ready to go either at the beginning of September or mid-September or at the end of September, I think is an awful lot to do with a reason to hold on to Lance. Because, if Purdy's not ready to go, you have to sign now a 4th quarterback to be your backup, unless you're comfortable just going with Darnold and Trey Lance. Because if you traded Trey Lance, who do you got? You got Sam Darnold ready to start your year.
Yeah,
just Sam Darnold.
It's amazing that McCaffrey and Shanahan and so many people are talking up Sam Darnold. If you ask me, would Sam Darnold beat Trey Lance out for the number 1 quarterback job this summer? I would say there's no way in hell. There's no way that Sam wins that battle, that Lance will win that battle. But if you ask me what I actually think is going to happen, I think they're going to wind up moving Trey Lance this weekend for a day 2 pick or some combination of players and day 3 picks or some combination of picks or conditional picks in future drafts. And I think they're going to go for a rookie. I think they're going to turn Trey. They're going to move Trey for a pick, and then they're going to use a pick on a rookie that they think's more ready to help them this year. And I think that's going to be
tackle, defensive line. Where are you thinking?
Well, no, I think it's going to be a quarterback. I think they're going to.
Oh, you think they're going to have so their quarterback room next year will be Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold, and rookie quarterback
Jake Hayner, Clayton Tune. Those are the 2 guys I think. It will be one of those 2 guys. It could be DTR, could be Dorian Thompson-Robinson, but I think people,
UCLA is the one. So here's the thing. You should start attaching some colleges to these names, Larry, because nobody knows this draft like you.
UCLA's Dorian Thompson-Robinson from UCLA, Clayton Tune from Houston, or Jake Hayner from Fresno State.
Right.
I really think that
Julie
they're going to wind
kid.
up Julie Hayner's kid, who was at the Niner Pro Day, scored incredibly high on the cognitive test. In a lot of ways is very similar to Brock Purdy.
Hayner's are smart people, Larry.
It's weird though that John Lynch, and granted, I'm parsing his words, but he says I expect Trey to be here. All right, that's a weird thing to say. Why? Because you're in charge,
right?
And if you wanted to guarantee it, you could guarantee it. And it's not like, well, John Lynch doesn't talk like that, because he was asked 2 questions later about Brandon Ayuk potentially being traded. And he's like, Brandon Ayuk's a key figure here in 2023. We're going for it. This is a big year for us. He's a key cog. I mean, he said it like 9 different ways that Brandon Ayuk would not be traded. Then when it came time to ask about Nick Bosa, he's like, we're not even that phone's not even ringing. We're not even entertaining that call, blah, blah. So if they want to not entertain a call, like with Bosa, they can. If they want to indicate, concretely that a receiver is going to be with them, they can. But when it came to Trey Lance, all they said was, I expect Trey to be here. That just kind of means like, it's easy. It's an easy reversal on Monday or over the weekend where you say, hey, I wasn't expecting to get this kind of an offer.
Right.
And sure enough,
a 2 and a 3 in the next year draft, and then our expectations changes. And that's what happened. He left the door open.
Right. Houston called, and man, they offered Davis Mills and 2 third-round picks and a conditional future pick. And man, we had no idea we were going to get that kind of offer.
Better NFL quarterback today than Trey Lance is. I would do that deal in a heartbeat if I'm the 49ers.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying they could get that deal. I'm just saying, let's just say I think it's an easy pivot for Lynch to sit there and say, first of all, it's safe because let's just say that the Texans go quarterback number 2 and number 2 overall. Then maybe they're off the list. I bet you that John Lynch has 5 or 6 teams that have checked in, and none of them have Trey Lance as their number 1 option, but all of them are sitting there going, you know what? If we don't go quarterback here, and if this guy isn't on the board, we're interested for our 3rd-round pick, or we're interested for our late 2nd-round pick, or we'll give you a 4th and a conditional pick next year if this player and that player aren't on the board. So he may be going into this draft with 0 concrete offers. There's nobody who's saying, you know what, we'll offer you a 2 or we'll offer you a 3. So he's got to play it the way he's got to play it. He can't get into this, yeah, we're definitely moving the player and then have no deal. Right. Then he loses face. He may lose Trey Lance. He may lose face. He looks bad. It also looks like a failed trade attempt. And everybody's like, hey, man, you tried. Just like Jimmy. You tried to move Jimmy and you couldn't. You failed, Lynch. You. So he's saying, I expect Trey to be here. And then guess what? If the Texans call and say, here's 2/3 and Davis Mills, he can say, I never expected that kind of offer. And that's why we moved on from Trey. So all I'll say is those who are reading into the tea leaves, doing victory dances because they want Trey to stay, I would just wait. I would just wait on that until this weekend. Because when he was asked about Lamar Jackson, Damon, he did not say he was excited about Trey Lance. He said, we're really excited about Brock Purdy. Didn't say we're really excited about our young quarterbacks, Damon. Didn't say we're really excited about Brock and Trey. We're really excited about Brock Purdy. My whole message has been they're going to reconfirm to Brock Purdy and kind of, confirm more that he's their guy, and they're going to move Trey and go in a different direction. Partly because they know Trey needs to play, partly because they want to recommit to Brock, partly because they don't want a gigantic controversy, partly because they want to take those assets and try to win this year. But I still very much believe he's got a better than 50-50 chance of moving this weekend. I really do.
So I think maybe the most important thing for the 49ers when the draft starts on Thursday is that about halfway through that first round, John Lynch plugs his phone in to make sure he's got a full battery. Because if something is going to happen, I think it happens Thursday night, after the first round is over. And like you said, now teams are reassessing the board. Amount of quarterbacks gone. Where do they stand? Second round. That's when things could get interesting. So Thursday night is the night where if a deal is to be made, it's probably made. I would say that. But
or Friday night.
Maybe.
You don't think? I think Trey Lance is not going for a 1. I think he's going for a 2 or a 3.
No one's offering
or a 4. What's that?
No one's offering a 1 for Trey Lance. I would agree with you there.
Yeah, I don't see it.
A 4 is a no deal for me if I'm the 49ers. I need a 4 and something.
Oh, yeah. No, but what you just said it already. What if Houston wants him? And what if Houston goes defense at the top of the draft for D'Amico and then just says, you know what? We don't want to go. We don't want to give you a 2. We don't want to give you the 2 3s. We'll give you a 4th round pick, Davis Mills, and a conditional pick in next year's draft on day 2. So you get a 4th this year, you get Davis Mills, and you get a 2 or a 3 in next year's draft, depending on how much Trey plays and how he does.
And you're talking
something like that. I think
starters.
Is very palatable.
Yeah, that would make me listen. Again, John Lynch did not hear the offer he wanted to hear coming out of the business end of that phone. I don't know who else was on the other end. I don't know who made the call, but obviously there wasn't any interest at this particular time. Things change, and it's an overused phrase, but this is a very fluid situation. And what happens? How many quarterbacks are left? I mean, what would you say? There's 4, 5 real name quarterbacks in this draft that you'd feel comfortable taking and then possibly playing in the next 2-3 seasons.
It's a beauty in the eye of the beholder thing, Damon. Yeah. I mean, it's weird. It's like, we've got. It's kind of like the NBA draft. How there's like these super blue chip young guys at the top, but there's all kinds of question marks. But then when you get to like the teens or even the 20s, there's like some really refined players that you kind of know about, but they maybe don't have quite the upside as those guys that went in the lottery. So, like, give you an example. I think Bryce Young goes 1. And then I think after that, it's a real crapshoot. C.J. Stroud had a super low cognitive test. I think that's scaring some people off. Anthony Richardson's a phenomenal athlete, but needs work as a quarterback. Will Levis, I don't like Will Levis, but I think Will Levis might wind up going really high. I wouldn't even be shocked if Will Levis went like maybe number 1. I mean, I wouldn't even be.
I would be shocked if he went number 1. I really, at this point, I would be.
He's huge. He's 6'4", he's 230, and he's got a hose. But I personally agree with you. If you watch Kentucky football, he was nothing to sneeze at. I mean, he wasn't great. He really wasn't. So those guys are going 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think there's any question. Most mocks have them off the board in the top 15 picks. Then I think it gets interesting for the Niners and Trey Lance, because is Trey Lance better prospect or worse prospect than Hendon Hooker? I'd rather have Trey Lance, to be honest. Hendon Hooker's coming off an injury. I don't think Hendon Hooker passes well outside the numbers. But then you've got this whole group of veteran quarterbacks that are like Jake Haener, very experienced. Tanner McKee, experienced. DTR played 5 years. Dorian Thompson-Robinson at UCLA, 5 years there. Clayton Tune, 4-year starter at Houston. Max Duggan, experienced starter. So you've got guys that have a lot of experience.
Kind of the same profile that Brock Purdy had.
Right.
Not touted, not physically superior, but if snaps in front of your own eyeballs matter, those guys matter.
Totally. And here's the thing. People are in this mode of, and I get it too. I totally get it. You can't get rid of Trey because you're going to need a quarterback to play this year. Yeah, but if you're of the belief, and I'm not saying the Niners are, but it's possible. If you're of the belief that Trey Lance is not ready to play and needs development, then he needs to play, but you need to win. Let's go back to John Lynch's combine comments where he's like, this is what he said. And this is how he said it. Trey's just got to play. And, that's the challenge because we got a team that's, ready to go right now. And then he kind of pauses because he knows what he's implying. He's implying what he thinks, which is that Trey Lance needs to play but isn't ready to play. And so if I'm hearing that correctly, then trading Trey Lance for assets and then using another pick on a Clayton Tune or a Jake Haener, who's a 4-year starter, or a Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who's a 5-year starter, guys that are ready to play, you could make an argument that those guys, even though they're rookies and have never played ever in the NFL, you could make an argument that they are more ready to play than Trey Lance. And if you believe
the Brock Purdy argument, that's what it is. It's the Brock Purdy argument all over again.
Right. It's the Brock Purdy prospect all over again. If you believe that, and they located Brock. If they feel like one of these guys is ready to play, then maybe in their mind, Purdy, Darnold, and a ready-to-play rookie is actually a better quarterback situation in the present than a Purdy, Darnold, Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance has got more upside than all those secondary quarterbacks we've just named, but it doesn't mean he's going to outplay them this year. And I think you could make a very strong argument that they would outplay him. So I kind of think that might be the Niners' sense of this. So if you ask me, what do I think is going to happen? I think that's going to happen. I think they're going to wind up moving Trey for some package of assets and drafting a more seasoned rookie quarterback and going that way. And then they're going to basically explain it to us as Trey needs to play. He needs to play on a team that's not ready to win championships, and he just needs to be able to make his mistakes and improve gradually. That's not our situation right now. We're in a window where we're thinking Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl. And so we're all about who can help us win this year, and this is the evaluation we made. That's just my read of it. I've been wrong before, but I don't think I'm wrong this time.
We're about to find out. We're about to find out, and it's going to be fun. I look at it this way. I think there's merits to the decision no matter how it plays out. I think that there are reasons to keep Trey Lance around. I think that there is a reason to flip him for a player that plays this year and another prospect. I mean, I see it from both angles. I got sympathy for the kid. I really do. It looked like he had been handed, not the keys to the kingdom. That's probably a little bit too much of an exaggeration, but he was handed an incredible opportunity. And before he even had a chance to make anything out of it, he finds himself injured to the point where his entire year is over. And everything that he needed, like John Lynch said, went poof in smoke. It was just taken away from him with that injury. And look, not to relitigate the last 2 years, but in the multiverse that we now live in terms of all these, comic book movies, I would love to see the multiverse where Trey Lance was installed as the starter in the year that Garoppolo and company lost the NFC title game in Los Angeles and had a full year of seasoning there, and then a full year of seasoning after that instead of losing the NFC title game in Philadelphia. Would those 2 years of foundational developmental football for Trey Lance had eventually equaled a real shot to win a Super Bowl this year? Now, obviously, you're in the NFC title game. You got a real shot to win a Super Bowl. You can't get closer, right? So, there's probably no real second guessing that decision, but I would have loved to seen how the multiverse played out. I would have loved to seen what Trey Lance had looked like with, 30 plus starts under his belt and know what this year is going to look like. Brock Purdy probably doesn't happen in that multiverse at that point. And it would have been fascinating. What might have been, what could have been, knowing that the 2 years of losing an NFC title game were equal parts very impressive and not satisfying altogether. It's so weird to see how it might all play out and what the alternate reality might have actually been. By the way, Larry, your subscribers, breaking news, I started the show 101 subscribers short of 5,000 on Damon Bruce Plus. One of your subscribers has answered the bell. Oh, make that 2 now. We're now 99 away, 99 subscribers away from 5,000 on Damon Bruce Plus. I ask all of Krueger Nation to stand up. If you're not following or subscribing to me and you want Home and Home, forget about Damon Bruce. If you don't want to miss any Larry Krueger is going to be appearing on the Damon Bruce channel. So screw Damon Bruce. You want to get as much Larry Krueger as you can. Go ahead and subscribe to Damon Bruce, and that way you get your full Krueger.
There you go. Bottom of the screen, you see the scroll. Subscribe to Damon Bruce Plus.
By the way, just so you know,
YouTube.
The support is real. Last night I did a little Italian, and I took the picture. I just want to show you. Those are the links I left with, baby. Those are the links that I took home from the supermarket.
There you go. New York style Italian sausage. You can't go wrong. Spider Rico says you take the Vikings 3rd-round pick and you sign and trade of Zadarius Smith, who's getting released this summer, but this move guarantees the 49ers get him. Zadarius Smith.
Some guy named Trock Talk says, someone give Damon Bruce a glass of water. He's thirsty. Hey, I got kids to feed. Fuck you.
Yeah, seriously. There's Trock. Trock will mix it up every now and then. We've got people in here. Why are you bashing Lance? Oh my God. Is there anything more tired than people? I'm just discussing the fact that I actually think he will get moved. I could be right. I could be wrong.
Right. Unless you're his mother. Shut up.
I mean, seriously, please shut up. But no, I mean, people get so, if you don't tell somebody exactly what they want to hear, it's like, oh my God. This guy's, I know the code, Larry. I know the code speak Larry uses. For what? Shut the fuck up.
No, this is why Fox News lied about the election, because they knew that their audience was such a bunch of sensitive, needed to hear what they wanted to hear instead of reality, that if they suggested reality, it would have been offensive. And I'm not trying to get political here. I'm just talking about how information is disseminated on places that you think are news services. Now, I know this doesn't say the Larry Krueger News Hour. You're not presenting yourself as news. This is all opinion, but it's what you think, and you have a more informed opinion than most. So people can take it and put it in their pipe and smoke it, or they can just leave it. It's no big deal. The way we discuss these things has no bearing on what actually is about to happen. We got hunches.
Right. And also, would you rather just have me sit here and just say, I mean, anybody can read the press conference thing and be like, yep, he said, I expect Trey to be here, so Trey's going to be here. Yeah, but a second later, he was asked about Brandon Ayuk being here, and he went on and on and on and basically guaranteed that Brandon Ayuk would be here. But he didn't do that with Trey, so he left the door open. Why do you leave the door open? Because the draft's fluid. Why is he not saying that he's going to be dealt? Because he doesn't have any hard offers right now. But the one thing we don't know is we don't know what teams would offer. But if you ask me what I think the 49ers would take, I think they would take any pick in the second round, any pick in the third round, maybe even a player like a Davis Mills and a day 3 pick and a conditional pick next year. So this idea that, we know definitively, or Lynch is not, think of it this way. If Lynch says, I expect Trey to be here, and he trades him this weekend, he can say, hey, wasn't expecting to get the offer we got.
Of course.
But if you say, hey, I expect Trey to be dealt, and then you don't get an offer, or some combination of factors happen and every team that's interested today all backs out in favor of another quarterback, you've got damage control with your quarterback, damage control with your media, you're backpedaling, you look like you failed. I mean,
it's like Farhan.
Guys,
couldn't get the big deal done.
Yeah, in case 49. Larry's take is nonsense. Case, I'll see you on Monday. We'll see who's laughing last on this.
By the way, thanks for sticking around for 28 minutes of nonsense. Obviously, it means nothing to you.
Yeah. And we'll see you for the next stream later on today. All right. You want to
wait, I see Bruce, CNN, MSNBC or big political. I wasn't talking politics. I was talking about how news is shared and disseminated, and you see major networks now just coddling an audience for likes, not trying to inform an audience with information. This is the different world that we're living in. So just because I said Fox News didn't mean I just had a political discussion. MSNBC, CNN, every single one of these has an agenda. I'll tell you right now,
you got right-wing television, you got left-wing television.
Right. Here's Larry's agenda. Let's talk football. That's Larry's agenda.
Yeah.
This is my agenda. Let's talk sports. That's it. We're talking.
Yeah. And also, here's my other agenda. I'm the guy who wanted Trey Lance, and I'm still the guy who believes in Trey Lance. I may believe in Trey Lance more than John Lynch and the Niners do. I'm just telling you that I think that they're going to trade him based on what I've heard. And if I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. But if I'm right, I think some of you guys need to apologize.
If you're right, Larry, everyone who thinks that you're wrong right now should leave you a 20 spot in the tip jar. Seriously, They should apologize with cash.
So should we jump to Giants or jump to Warriors?
Well, let's just spend 5 minutes on the Giants because there's not a lot there, right? I mean, what they have.
There we go. And like that, we switched to orange.
Look at that. Look at that. Hold on. Wait, can I switch to orange too? Watch this.
And like that.
Watch this. Boom, orange.
Ooh, look at that. Now.
Look,
I'm Laura Britt. He's Alex Pavlovich, and we got more coming up next with Carlos. And here we go. It's going to be a great old. Let's all pretend we give a shit about the Giants.
Richard really sitting there like, I left Napa to drive down here to do this. At least they paid for a hotel room.
The hilarious thing is 2/3 of the people on the panel are like, probably couldn't even spell Giants 2 years ago. Now they're like, oh, thank God we got to win. Shut up. Right. You don't even care. Stop talking to us like you care about our teams when you don't care about our teams, and you probably lived in Florida like 6 weeks ago. You know, there's nothing lamer than that. It's like, go Giants.
By the way, there is something lamer than that. What's lame is, look, Alex Cobb, congratulations, a complete game shutout. I almost forgot what those were, and there's a reason. Do you realize that that's the Giants' first complete game shutout since Madison Bumgarner threw one in 2016? I mean, that is ridiculous. How in a ballpark that is built to be the best friend of any starting pitcher, you rarely see a guy go into the seventh, much less finish a game off. This is, I think, a big reason why, pitching injuries are occurring. Guys aren't building up their arm strength. If you have helicopter parents, you're going to be a soft adult. If you have parents constantly lording over you, making sure that little Johnny, little Billy never goes anywhere, that he might get hurt, and we got to protect him at all time, chances are you're going to step into the real world and you're going to be taken advantage of. And it feels like that this is a big problem that baseball has. They just don't let pitchers pitch anymore. So congratulations to Alex Cobb. Hopefully it isn't another 7 years before the Giants see another complete game shutout. And the only other thing I have to say is, look, they're getting a little healthier and they're playing some better baseball. And a big part of that is J.D. Davis, who hits the ball really hard and is picking it over at third in a way that makes me go, hey, he's not bad, man. He's
great dude. He's a great dude, too. He's a Sacramento guy, Elk Grove, talked to him in spring training. Damon, just a really cool guy, really down-to-earth guy. I did an interview with him. People can check it out on the YouTube channel. The big thing for sure to me is that the Giants have gotten their righty hitters back. I mean, they're not deep. People who argue that at the beginning of the year that they're deep, they're not deep. They're very, very, very paper thin. Right. But they got Slater back. He had 2 hits last night. They got Haniger back. He drove in a run. Those are 2 of their key bats against left-handed pitching. They were totally naked against left-handed pitching because they're so lefty-heavy. Now, at least with the addition of those 2 hitters, you've added 2 more bats. So they're going to be more competitive against lefties. There's power up and down the lineup. Let's be honest here. Sable, Bart, Yaz, VR, Wade, Flores, Conforto, J.D. Davis, Haniger, Estrada, Jock Peterson, Austin Slater. I mean, literally every guy in their lineup can take you out. So they've got some power up and down the lineup. That's an advantage. And, man, I loved what I saw from Cobb last night. I don't know if he can replicate that a lot this year, but, man, he's got a 1.91 ERA. I talked to him in spring training. He's got the right mindset. He's feeling good. He was in a good spot mentally when I talked to him in March, and I think the Giants are going to be a team that's going to finish probably 75 win type team, unless they can make some addition in July to make them better. I think they're basically a 500 team, but because of the injuries I think they'll finish. I would say if you said give me a win total, I'm saying 77 wins.
That feels about right. And again, 4 more wins than that gets you to 81. And who was 81 last year? They're an average baseball team. They're built to be an average baseball team in a division with 2 well above average baseball teams and an Arizona team that wants to be an above average team for sure. I know that there was a question here about Madison Bumgarner. Do you take a little flyer on him? I think the answer there is no. I mean, I don't think there's much left there.
Yeah. Cole Dixon
that
is
Amy
for
G
shits and
impression
giggles.
ready. You gonna throw the baseball?
How does it feel? My whole thing on Bumgarner is lefties go forever. He's got an arm slot that should be durable over time. I'd take a look at him just because I think there might be some way to tinker with his mechanics and get him right and contributing. And I'd like him on any role. If you want him as a reliever, a spot starter, I would take a look just because of the arm angle, the lefties. There's so many lefties who can get away with finesse. I mean, heck, I can remember as a kid, Frank Tanana was awesome throwing hard as a lefty,
but
and then by the end he was a softballer.
Past anybody, man. I mean, look at the numbers that he
but
came out of
maybe
Arizona
could you
with.
tinker? I would tinker with him. I would. It doesn't cost you anything. You get him for nothing, major league minimum. You send him to Arizona for a couple weeks. You see what he's got. If he's got nothing, that's it. If he's got something, maybe you use him. I think with his arm angle, his body type, I just think that he's not done. I'd be shocked if he was done right now. That would be surprising to me because this is early. Damon, he's not very old. I mean, this guy should have more left in the tank, and I think there's enough deception with his motion that if somebody could work on him, I think something could be salvaged from him. All right, that's enough giant talk.
Oh yeah,
that's enough giant talk. God damn it, it's enough. Oh, here we go. Eric Hernandez, 9-13, nothing like it.
Nothing like it, baby.
All right, so let's switch to blue. We're in the now. Let's talk Warriors Kings. Man, the Warriors almost gagged away the game the other day. I mean, that was unbelievable. Steph Curry almost had a Chris Webber moment.
Larry,
they almost gagged it.
The amount of shit that he would have caught had Harrison Barnes hit that shot. It's still going on today. And Steph Curry would have just been thrown into the worst 24 hours, 48 hours of coverage of his entire career.
Yeah.
Thank God Harrison Barnes missed that shot. It bailed the entire organization and a first ballot Hall of Famer out of all sorts of embarrassing questions. And how it's basically, talking about Javi Lopez. How do you lose count of the outs while you're standing on second base? You're a major leaguer. How, Steph Curry, do you lose, how many timeouts you have left? You're the point guard. You, more than anyone else on the floor, needs to know that. It was a huge get out of jail free card that Harrison Barnes offered up when he missed that shot, and the Warriors survived it. And thank God, because no one would have wanted to do that. Was really stupid, Steph. 48 hours of radio, but it would have happened, and he would have been burnt on every show in America. Yeah, he should take Harrison Barnes to dinner.
Well, and Barnes, once again, doesn't come through in the clutch. I mean, I think Warrior fans are used to that, but now De'Aaron Fox is
Harrison Barnes playoff 3 coming through for Warriors.
Yeah. De'Aaron Fox fractured index finger on the shooting hand. He did participate in the non-contact practice today. He told reporters afterward, there's no ifs, ands, and buts I'm playing, which you should be playing. Your season's on the line. You have a broken finger. Play.
Just the tip, baby. Just the tip. We all know that you never really get nervous about just the tip. So what
do you think, though? How's the rest of the series going to go? Best of 3 with the Kings holding home court. Warriors going to win in sack game 5? They're going to win in sack game 7? Or the Kings moving on to the next round?
Winner of game 5 wins the series. I really believe that. I think for the Warriors to win this series, they needed to rattle off 4 in a row. They've got the first 2 legs down. I think that there is a path to victory now available to them in Sacramento because De'Aaron Fox has been the best player on the court in this entire series, all 4 games. He's the one thing the Kings can count on. The worst the Warriors have been able to do, or the best the Warriors have been able to do against him, was turn him into a volume shooter in game 3, but he still got his 26, 28, whatever he had there. De'Aaron Fox is the man. And if the man can't be the man all the way because he's got a sore finger, that to me smells like a path to victory for the Warriors when they don't find many paths to victory on the road. So it's a huge break. It's no pun intended. It's a big break for the Warriors, and they better well take advantage of it. If I'm Kevon Looney, if I'm Draymond Green, if I'm Klay Thompson, I'm picking up 2 fouls, just slapping at his hand on the ball. I really don't give a shit. If anyone wants to say, well, that's dirty, you're trying to hurt another player. No one's trying to hurt another player, but you're trying to test everyone to their limits. It's the playoffs. No apologies be needed for testing your willingness to play with pain. That's what this is all about. So I think it's a huge opportunity for the Warriors, and they better take advantage of it, because I think if they win this series, they go up 3-2 and then close it out in Game 6. I don't think they want any bit of Sacramento in Game 7.
I think Golden State could win there in Game 7. I would agree that you don't want that. I think they can. But this is the game. To me, Game 7 is going to take a Herculean effort. This is the game with Fox, nursing the injury, the Kings having lost 2 in a row to the Warriors, maybe questioning a little bit, not riding with a ton of momentum. To me, this is the game you want to get for sure. I'll say this, Draymond Green is a genius, man. He's a genius basketball player. I love the fact that they didn't start him. He didn't sit there and complain or do anything. Instead, he just stayed extra warm, kept his warm-up on, and, man, he came out and played a whale of a game. 12 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. The biggest play of the game, I thought, was the final sequence where he forced Fox to give it up to Barnes. It's like Draymond, you can say what you want about Draymond. He may lose control at times, but he's such a great competitor that he makes the right decision in crunch time more times than not. Why? Because he's motivated by winning. And so he's always trying to make the winning play. And to me, he's got it real organized in his brain that, hey, let anybody but Fox beat you at the end. And so he forced the ball out of Fox's hands. I thought it was a huge, huge move by Green. And I credit Green, too, because, he came off the bench. He made it all work. Some guys would lose face. Some guys would pout. He's not like that. He was +8, almost had a triple-double. Draymond Green's the truth, man. He is. I expect him to play huge the rest of this series.
They need him to. He left a lot of bunnies on the rim there. He didn't shoot well, but the rest of his
3
game
of 14, by the way.
Yeah, the rest of his game was exactly what you need out of him, that fire-breathing Draymond. When he does sub in, coming off the bench in his very first shift, he, picks up that double tech with De'Aaron Fox, so he knows, he's trying to get under skin. They're trying to get under his skin. Feels like he's smart enough to not take the bait. I'll say this about Draymond too. I bet you he knew there were no timeouts. I bet you he did. It's the kind of guy he is. He's a smart player. His basketball IQ is legit. So, it's funny, man. Right when you want to lose confidence in him, he does something that makes you go, how could you go forward without him? He's such a yin and yang player. One day he giveth, the next day he taketh away, but he never takes so much away to the point where it starts outweighing what he gives to this team. He is their spirit animal. He is the engine. And it's great that he is, because neither Steph Curry nor Draymond or Klay Thompson, certainly not Andrew Wiggins, who's about as passive a star this league could ever see. It's not going to be Looney. Someone has to be the agitator. And Draymond isn't just well qualified. He volunteers. I mean, that's what he does. And without him, the Warriors just feel different. They look different. And I think Steve Kerr said in his post game, it's real simple. I didn't have to convince Draymond to come off the bench. He watches enough tape. He knows the game well enough to see what I saw. And he understood. And so when I suggested it, he just said, yes, coach. And that's what you need this time of year. And if we can go back to last year, Steph Curry's willing to come off the bench in Denver. Who the hell could then say no?
To me, the one thing about this last game, looking at that box score, watching the game a second time, Damon, the Warriors really got lucky here. Not only did Barnes miss the final shot, the Kings took 12 more field goal attempts. Sacramento put up 102 shots. Golden State only put up 90 shots. I mean, that right there, that's dodging a bullet. They got to do a better job. Yeah, they got to do a better job on the glass, man. They got beat 12-8. They were -4 on the Warriors were -4 on the offensive glass. They've been getting hammered. They've been getting hammered on the offensive glass. Really throughout this series. Sacramento grabbed 7 offensive rebounds in the first half, only 1 for Golden State. They've got to do a better job there. And I'll say this too. They got to get something out of either Moody or Peyton or Kuminga. Kuminga, I love Kuminga.
He's an afterthought, Larry. He's not getting 5 minutes tomorrow night without an injury. He's not. Steve Kerr has no faith in him.
I have no faith in him. Rebound the basketball. Rebound. Just rebound. He'll be on the weak side. The ball will go up. He doesn't go to the rim. You're 6'8". You can jump out of the gym. You're the best athlete on the floor. Go get a rebound. It's like if I was Kerr, I'd be like, I know we don't want to do what the NFL did with the bounty system, but here's $1,000 for every rebound, and you'll
rebound.
Get a rebound. Every rebound you get, I'm giving you $1,000. $1,000. I mean, come on. I need some rebounds. Gary Payton, I need some rebounds. Moses Moody, those guys combined for no rebounds.
I'll
None.
Tell you what, you just said the name that I think
or one
role tomorrow night. Gary Payton II needs to have the game that was worth giving up on James Wiseman's future for, and he needs it in Game 5.
Or they need some points from DiVincenzo. That's the other thing. DiVincenzo, I love you as a player. You make all kinds of plays. You're a rebounder. You're an assist guy. You know how to play. Score. We need some scoring on this team. The Warriors are getting hammered on the bench scoring, especially the bench scoring in this last game was, it was 16 for Monk. That's 28, 34, 39 points off the bench for the Kings, and
right.
the Warriors had
what,
20.
12 from Draymond, and
they were minus 14 in bench scoring. You got to get some points off the bench, and it's got to be DiVincenzo.
A harder ask on the road, right? Where role players shrink a little as opposed to who they are at home. Better play off the bench would be great. A 50 spot from Curry would be even better. Really. It's time for stars to shine. I mean, Jimmy Butler just went straight nuclear for the Miami Heat. What a game from Jimmy Buckets. And he just said, you know what, Eric Spoelstra? Screw your offense. I'm going straight Rucker Park on this game. And he did. He just did whatever he wanted. He's pointing to his spot on the floor, dribble, pull up, hero ball shit. I loved it. And it worked. I mean, that's the thing. You can stay in hero ball mode when the shots are falling. When they're not, you got to get out of it and you got to go back to your offense. But the shots are falling. Superman's wearing the cape tonight. Let him do it. And man, did you watch LeBron? The Lakers just pulling down 20, and 7 from a 38-year-old basketball grandpa who is still the best player on the court. I mean, he's amazing.
He's terrific.
He's Superman.
He's one of the greatest athletes this country has ever produced. If you just want to talk about, look at the longevity. If he were a car, he's got like 300,000 miles.
Right. No, it's the greatest.
It's unbelievable.
I don't think it's short to call him, Larry, the greatest realization on the biggest promise of any athlete in our lifetimes. We were told when he was a sophomore at St. Vincent St. Mary's, this kid is going to be the next great player. And he wasn't just the next great player. He might measurably be the single greatest player in the history of the sport globally. So that's a delivering on a promise.
That's a great call.
Yeah, his entire career comes, totally bereft of any embarrassing moments. The biggest embarrassment you can attach to LeBron James is the decision to take his talents to Miami and turn it into a TV special with Jim Gray.
Not 5, not 6, not 7.
That was a miscalculation. But again, that's really not embarrassing as much as it's just a PR goof. The guy's never even rolled a stop sign. He is the perfect American athlete. He truly is.
Well, and the durability is off the charts, and especially when you think and the longevity is amazing. I mean, and the fact that he's been able to stay healthy. I mean, it really is incredible. The other thing on the Warriors-Kings series, Keegan Murray woke up in this last game. And Keegan Murray, if he continues to play at a high level, that's going to make this a real difficult thing to get done. He's playing well. Malik Monk, to me, when they think keep Monk under 20, I think that's the level I'm looking at. But the one guy I got to get your thoughts on, I don't understand the reffing of this series as far as how they're dealing with Sabonis. Sabonis doesn't want to. Sabonis is kind of a weird player. He's oddly smart as far as he's He's a real heady player who's gets other people involved. Averaged over 7 assists per game. Led the NBA in rebounding. But he's passing up open 5 and 6 footers to bang shoulders and try to just lay it in 2 footers.
Larry,
I've never seen anybody with
jumper.
less confidence in their range.
He can't. If you're Domantas Sabonis, you spend the entire offseason just trying to hit that elbow jumper. That's the only thing he really needs to work on. He has no confidence in that shot. The Warriors hand it to him, and he will not take it. So obviously he's uncomfortable there. I'll say another thing about just officiating. There's been so many presumptive fouls, and I think that almost goes in both directions. But the amount of really good kind of straight up and down defense that in the playoffs should be a non-whistle has turned into whistles. The wet spot has picked up fouls in this series because guys are just slipping, and who's ever defending that player who's slipping gets called for a foul. And the other thing on Sabonis, where, to me,
he pushes off. It's an offensive foul. Like most of the time, he's going to the bucket.
Larry, he
travels
50% of the time.
He travels a ton, but he also has 3 in the key. Like he's got 19 seconds in the key. I mean, the guy literally lives in the key.
His pivot foot's all over the place. It really is. He wouldn't be able to go 3 or 4 trips up and down the court in a Big Ten basketball game without being called for travel, because they still call that all the time in college. They let it go in the NBA, and they've let it go on him to the point where if they actually started calling him right now, people would assume the fix is in, because he's been getting away with that all year. He moves his feet all over the place.
I know. It's unbelievable. All right, man. Good stuff. What do you got going on the channel the rest of the week?
Well, tomorrow, again, we're going to set up, as big a game the Warriors have been in since they were in the NBA Finals last year. I really think, their chance to go to the second round lives or dies tomorrow night. I think it's that big of a game for them. And it's fascinating. I'm prepared to handle it either way. They better be too, because it's been such a good series. It's been such a good series.
Are we getting together tomorrow night on your channel pre Game 5?
I'd love to. I'd absolutely
why don't we do that?
To.
And I got tomorrow afternoon. If you want to hook up, we'll pick a time. We'll figure it out in the next.
We'll pick a time,
and
then after we get out of this incredibly busy week, what you and I need to do,
we'll get a set time.
Is come up with a set time exactly that works best for both of us. That is, after
kid friendly.
After you've had dinner, after we've put the Rugrats down for the evening, so Jillian's not up there trying to herd cats all by herself. So we'll figure it all out, man. But as always, it's a total pleasure, Larry. Thanks for having me on. I want to thank at least, what do we got? 10 of your subscribers. We're at 4,909.
Look at that.
91 Krueger subscribers. Come and get some. Because you're not going to be able to see Larry on the Home and Home on the Damon Bruce channel tomorrow unless you subscribe. Well, I guess you could, but you won't get notified and it won't be easy.
No, this is what we want you to do. If you're one of the people in the chat right now, or if you're watching this video at a later hour, you're not catching it live, you see at the bottom of the screen, it says subscribe to Damon Bruce Plus on YouTube. I want you guys all to go over to Damon's channel, hit like and subscribe, help him grow his channel. He's just getting started, and onward and upward. Every single person who's part of our channel here on the Krug Show would love it if you guys would go sign up on Damon Bruce Plus and get Damon's show and channel off and running. And we're going to do a lot of content back and forth throughout the year on both channels. So thanks to all of you for doing that. Damon, have a great night. I got a little high school baseball that I'm going to go check out. My son's pitching. It's fun to watch the Warriors. It's really fun to watch the Niners. It used to be fun to watch the Giants, but it's always fun to watch your kid pitch in a high school game.
How are you? How are you just in
silent.
terms of your behavior? What is your demeanor while your son is on the mound?
I'm silent.
That's the correct answer, by the way. That is the correct answer.
Yeah, I won't make any noise. I can't do any cheering. I can't do anything. I just sit there. I'm silent. My oldest son, I used to cheer. I used to, yell and scream. I can't.
You're not
And
all over home plate umpires for squeezing
no,
your kid.
no. I just sit there. I roll with it. Either way,
that's good, man.
I don't want to be Ray Knight. You can look it up.
I've always said Larry Krueger. That guy's all class.
There you go. Thanks, go.
Pal.
All right, Damon, have a good night. There you go. The great Damon Bruce stopping by on the Home and Home Krug Show style. All right, thanks to our sponsor, Pig and a Pickle. Check them out. 2 locations. They're in Emeryville, and they're in Corte Madera, and their place in Corte Madera looks a little bit like this.
We grew up with a Sunday dinner. That means no matter how busy you were, no matter where the hell you were, you came to dinner on a Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday dinner without sausage, it's like a church without God. How can you go to church if you don't believe in God? And along with the sausage also became the discussions. That was discussion night. It wasn't a typical family that you sit there and you're quiet, and you don't talk with a mouthful. Oh no, man. Italians talk when they're eating. Italians even talk when they're sleeping. And definitely we talk with our hands. So if we can't express it through our mouth, through our lips, we express it with our hands. So, and that's what sausage is, really. It's an expression, that life is good.
All right, coming down the home stretch on the Krug Show. Join me tonight on the Vish Kumaran Show at 6:45 for a little Niner talk with Vish on his channel. And then join me tonight after Giants-Cardinals. Danny's going to be in the house. We'll do a little post-game on the Giants and the Cardinals and hopefully talk about another win for your red-hot San Francisco Giants. I'm off to watch Northgate High School do their thing. Go Northgate. And I'll enjoy that. And then join me at 6:45. Got a lot coming up this week with the draft approaching Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Thanks for tuning into the Krug Show on YouTube. Thanks to our sponsors and thanks to all of you. See you at 6:45 with Vish.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for. Here for whatever you bring me, getting handled. I answer to no one, I don't need to hassle. Yeah.